Today, we begin with your decision to get vaccinated. Right now, the vast majority of medical professionals agree that vaccination is your best shot at preventing serious complications from COVID. Researchers say despite the pause on the J&J vaccine, vaccination is safe and effective. So you might not be surprised if your doctor or your family member, even your employer, urges you or encourages you to roll up your sleeve. But who could tell you to get vaccinated and threaten consequences if you don't? One possibility is the person or group that controls your homeowners association. Right now in the U.S., 1 in 3 newly constructed homes are in a planned community, like a subdivision, condominium, or co-op. Many have an HOA board that can impose guidelines and restrictions. With me now is Scott Reidenbach. He is the founding principal of the law firm Reidenbach & Associates based in Wayne. He works with many of our area's largest home builders. Scott, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Tracy. I appreciate it.
So this is really a hot topic for your clients right now. First, for people who don't understand, explain what an HOA is and what kind of power they have. What do they do?
Right. So HOA stands for Homeowner Association, and condo are condo associations. And they're run by boards of directors, which are volunteer homeowners that live in the community. And the boards have very broad powers to do what's best, pass rules, pass regulations for the owners that live in their communities.
What kinds of rules do they usually focus on?
Right. Well, it depends who you ask. They range. And, a typical rule would be, you can't park your car on the street after a certain hour. You must bring your trash cans in at a certain time. You can't have a hot tub on your deck. Things like that are pretty standard within planned communities. But this goes a little beyond that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So let's get right to the question. Can an HOA tell you you must be vaccinated?
Surprisingly, they can. They can. And Tracy, in Pennsylvania, boards of condo and HOA associations are given very broad statutory powers. And to put it simply, those powers are to act in the best interest of the entire community as a whole, not on behalf of or what's best for one person that lives there. So within these broad powers are to protect the people that live there.
Okay, so they can, but usually you look at the rules before you move into a planned community. People are already living there. Can the HOA meet and say, we've decided this is required for everyone who's coming in and everybody who's already here?
Yeah, that's a great point, because you're right. As far as buyer beware and due diligence, people look at the governing documents of an association first before they buy. And when rules are enforced upon them after the fact, it doesn't always sit very well. But again, this is very important. And boards have the power to do these midstream or after the fact rules and regulations when new things occur, whether it be social unrest occurring around the building or a pandemic like we're in right now.
Do you think we'll see HOAs say just blanket, you must be vaccinated, or will they use it more as an incentive? If you want to use the pool, if you want to use the common area or the common room, you must be vaccinated. How do you think that will play out?
I think it'll be more of an incentive, because human nature, we don't like being told what to do or being threatened as in general. So I think if association boards make it more of an incentive, like you said, you can use the pool or the pickleball courts or the tennis courts if you have proof of vaccination. I think that will inspire a lot of people to get it so they can use those facilities as the weather gets warmer this spring and summer.
You've been around this for a while now. Tell me what the board discussion would sound like around this issue, because while medical professionals agree the vaccinations are safe and effective, there are differing views. And a board is there to keep people safe and to keep the property nice. So I can see a lot of views coming to the table on this in that discussion.
Oh, absolutely. And boards of directors in planned communities are often comprised of 3 or 5 members. And those members are homeowners that live there. They could be a Republican, they could be a Democrat, they could have very strong views on COVID or no views whatsoever. So as a governing body, these are really amazing conversations taking place amongst these board members. And also, Tracy, I think it depends. These boards are making decisions based on whether their community is 55 and over, or is mostly comprised of 20-somethings. It's a whole different analysis based on demographics.
Right. You said they are allowed to mandate or incentivize. How enforceable would that be? Or can you see something, can you see a homeowner saying, I'm not following your rules and I'm going to push back. I'm just not going to be vaccinated.
Right. Well, that never happens, right? People never push back on rules. I can definitely see that happening. I can see situations where, and it's already happened now, with people not wearing masks, whether it be in a restaurant or, at the association pool or gym. And it's hard because you're all neighbors that live in these communities. You're all together on the same team, so to speak. But there will be fines. The board has the power to fine people monetarily. And more importantly, the board has the power to prohibit and prevent owners from using facilities, pool, gym, clubhouse, if they don't wear a mask, or if the rule is in place, they don't show proof of vaccination. They have the power to keep people out of those areas.
Could they evict you from your home?
They can't do that. Thankfully, they can't do that, but they can, like I mentioned, they can levy fines and prohibit you from doing certain things in the common areas of the community. That can certainly happen.
Like much of this pandemic, this is uncharted territory, but have there been any similar court rulings that would indicate that if something gets down the road that far, how the courts would rule?
Yeah, there have been, and you hit it on the head. There aren't really many, if any, cases to speak of at the moment on this issue, meaning if an association requires vaccination and the homeowner disagrees, how does that play out in court? That hasn't happened yet, but it will. But yes, courts in Pennsylvania generally favor association boards doing what's best for the community. So it's the business judgment rule is often applied to boards of directors. And as long as the board is doing something that is deemed reasonable and in the best interest of the whole, the courts tend to come out on the side of the boards and the associations over the homeowners that aren't following the rules.
Real quick before we go, what are you telling your builders and what's your best advice for a homeowner?
Well, for our builder clients, we're telling them to do the right thing. If you have an older population within your community, if you have a gym or a clubhouse or a pool that a lot of people use, pass a rule that requires proof of vaccination. That's a no-brainer. And if you're a resident or a homeowner, either comply, wear a mask, show proof of vaccination, hold up your card like most of us have. But if a board is not doing the right thing, meaning the board has their head in the sand about this issue, homeowners have the ability to gather together as a group, get a petition signed, and require the board hold a hearing or have meetings to put the proper rules in place.
It'll be interesting how this plays out. Scott Reidenbach, thanks so much, founding principal of the Wayne law firm, Reidenbach and Associates. Thanks again.
Thank you, Tracy.